Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis. We are at episode number 97.
And my name is Barbara, and I'd like to say congratulations. We're almost to 100. I know it's 3 episodes too soon, but I think it's pretty great.
The countdown is definitely on.
I wonder who is going to be our episode 100. I think I know, and I know you know, but let's just throw it out there that it's somebody super special.
Yeah, it's a fantastic interview, and we're super excited to bring it.
We actually did it last night at 6 p.m. our time. I was actually sitting in my bathroom floor because my parents were over for my son's birthday, and I was hanging out in the bathroom talking to him and you. So that's a little bit into my life.
I had no idea.
Yep. And I didn't have any echoes, I don't think. You let me know when you edit it, but it was great. I really enjoyed myself. That hour flew by so fast.
It's going to be a good one. Happy episode number 100, which happens to be the Monday right after Lab Day Chicago.
I was going to ask you that. So it's so super nice to be home for the weekend. We've been traveling, Vision 21. And then Voices of Dentistry last weekend, which was amazing. We recorded some super conversations, met some great people, and I really had a really good time. Voices of Dentistry brought us some different perspectives in our industry, and we think you'll find it super interesting. So look for a bunch of episodes in the future from these 2 great events. And I tell you what, there's some amazing podcasts out there. I had no idea how much energy and enlightenment that they bring. And I really, really am so grateful that we went. And thank you, Kettenbach, for sponsoring us to go there. It was really, it fired me up. I'll be honest, Elvis. I'm really, really, really grateful.
Yeah.
I think our podcast has been awesome. We received a bunch of real positives from everybody. So kudos to the whole thing.
I know you're fired up, but that event, I'm sure you got really fireballed up.
Well, I would just like to say that I was ahead of my time because I think you'll hear it on those episodes. There was fireball at the event. People were over there doing shots at 10 a.m. and they, I think that was which podcast was that? Something and Worms.
Dental Implants and Worms.
Yeah. So I got a shirt and a couple shots of fireball. So just saying, I liked it. Those are my kind of people.
But today, I don't know.
That's your I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing laugh. I'm starting to get that laugh. It's like, all right.
I'm trying to think of how do I transition into doing what we're supposed to be doing here?
Well, have some fireball. It'll help you. Go.
So last November, I was invited to speak at the Eastern Conference of Dental Laboratories in Concord, North Carolina. Of course, Barb, you were not there that weekend. You had something important to do.
50th?
Yeah, something about a birthday or whatever. Whatever's more important to you.
Those things happen,
But it turns out that Durham Technical Community College is near where the conference was being held. At that college, they have a dental laboratory technology program. With only a handful of accredited schools left in our industry, Durham is one that's been mentioned a few times on the podcast, and they seem to be doing a really good job at providing our profession with educated, employable technicians. I was first joined by Erin Popov CDT, who went through the program and is now an instructor.
Awesome.
And interesting enough, mid-conversation, this is the first time on the podcast, mid-conversation, we are joined by a student, Jill Adams, and she talks about why she signed up for this program and where she hopes it takes her.
And then
on the second day, I am joined by the dean of the program, who I found out 2 weeks ago just happened to get the 2020 NADL Educator of the Year award, Greg Walton CDT.
Congrats. That's cool.
He talks about how he got his start, his time in the program with all the changes he's seen through the years, and his hopes for it in the future. So join us from the exhibit hall at the Eastern Conference of Dental Laboratories with Erin Popov, Jill Adams, and Greg Walton.
Are you excited about Chicago Lab Day? Elvis and I are, and NOAC Dental and NOAC Digital are. Their lab specialists will be at the East Tower, booth B47, and their digital specialists will be at the new West Tower, V2. Stop by both booths to learn about all of their offerings and to find out for yourself why NOAC is the first dealer name customers ask for. Also, backed by popular demand at each location, they will be serving King Cake vodka shots 1 hour before the closing of the show each day. So you know where I'll be. Don't forget to visit NOAC Dental in both exhibit halls during Lab Day Chicago. And Elvis and I thank you guys for your support.
Voices from the bench. The interview. All right, I'm excited. We are here at the Eastern Conference of Dental Laboratories here in Concord, North Carolina. I have with me a very special guest, the instructor at the local Durham Technical Community College. I've actually heard of your guys' school.
Excellent.
Quite a few. I mean, there's not a lot of them left.
Right.
And you guys are pretty big.
We are.
Okay, so before we get too far, your name, Erin Popov.
Erin Popov.
Your CDT,
I am.
super important, and TE, which explains that you're teaching.
Yes.
What does the TE
It
stand
also
for?
means that I've had a baccalaureate degree.
Oh.
And that I've also been teaching in the field for a certain amount of years.
Okay, so you kind of run the whole school.
I do not run the whole school.
Okay, you're just an instructor.
I am.
You were introduced as like the dean.
No. I am an instructor for the program, but I'm
Okay.
also a clinical coordinator. So I kind of do a little bit of, I put students in their clinical situations at the very last semester that they're in.
Oh, when they do their
Internships.
Yes. So you put them in labs.
Yes,
Okay,
I do.
any of them willing to come to Indiana?
I don't know.
Well, keep that on your list just in
Will
case.
do.
So how did you get into this?
I have a fun story. I'm an art major
Oh.
from Appalachian State University here in North Carolina. And so I graduated going through ceramics and metalsmithing and jewelry. So I already had a little interesting background coming into this. And upon graduating, going back and living with your parents is usually sometimes a standard that happens.
Yeah.
And so my mom was still looking up things for me to do to try to get me back out.
Yeah, get out of the house.
Yes.
Sure.
So she found an advertisement for Craigslist on a dental lab technician,
Craigslist.
oddly enough.
Yeah.
And she had read pouring plaster, casting metal, and she knew that I had done this. And she's like, "Are you interested in this? Because it sounds like something you could do." And I'm like, "What is a lab tech?" And
so
what
you
did
had
I do?
no idea.
I did not.
How long ago was this? Like 10 years ago?
This is
20 years ago?
2010.
Okay.
So fairly
really,
recent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so by that, I had wanted to look it up. What is a dental lab technician?
Sure.
I had some friends. And then by word of mouth from an assistant, she's like, "Oh, there's a school in Durham here in North Carolina that you can go to school and get an associate's in that." I went, "Really?"
Interesting.
And I'm kind of an advocate for school. Oddly enough, now I'm back teaching.
Yeah.
Right. So I looked into it. I said, "Sounds good. It sounds like I can use my hands-on skills, my art skills, and then I'm using that in a medical field." So I'm kind of combining. I know a job that will be there, but my artistic side. And so it was a nice match.
You saw an ad for a job, but you didn't take the job. It drove you to go to school.
Yes, because I already had some part-time jobs. So it was I think by that time, the position may or may not have been filled. I don't even remember that half. She just saw an advertisement for it. And so that just got the ball rolling. And life gave me a message, and things kind of colluded to where I decided to move to Durham, to go back to community college. And so that's where I'm at now. I never planned to stay, and yet all the opportunities came from me because of that risk of, let's go back.
So how long is the school program?
It is a 2-year program for the associate degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So that is basically 5 semesters.
Okay.
And then so a fall, spring, summer, fall, spring.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also offer certification programs where you can come in for, say, complete dentures, cast partials, ceramics, and crown and bridge.
And
So
do
you can get
the students walk out with the CDT, or do they walk out with the ability to get their CDT?
They walk out, since we're an accredited program here in North Carolina. They have
Yeah.
the opportunity to take their registered graduate exam.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that is a portion of the CDT. And that we highly encourage, but we can't say that you have to do this.
Yeah.
It's completely
of course
optional.
You encourage, though.
Mm-hmm.
So you must see a lot of students come into the school with no idea what the industry is.
Correct.
How do you prepare somebody to walk into this industry?
Really what we're doing, I kind of tell them, we're giving you some of the foundations to start this journey on, because there's no possible way I can teach you every single style and every material, which is constantly changing and growing. So if I can teach you those simple basics, which is why I had that back to the basics occlusion class earlier.
Yeah. That was you speaking.
That was me.
Oh my God.
So hopefully,
sorry.
It's all right. Hopefully we'll get them on that track, and then we guide them on what path do you really want to do. Like, there's going to be one thing that you really fall in love with here.
Yeah.
We teach you a little bit of everything. There's going to be that one thing that might just click, and I say go with that instincts. But also don't be afraid to learn everything else, because if you're a well-rounded technician, you're going to be a much better situation. And so learn as much as you can here. Mess up as much as you can here, because this is the time to do it.
Do it now before your boss is angry. Yeah.
Exactly. And then hopefully I really try to place them in a clinical site that will work well for both the clinical site and my student, to hopefully gear them towards learning maybe a little bit more that we can't offer at the school, and kind of impact that. And I teach them that, coming from an art background, that it's more than just an art project. It has to function.
Oh,
you are replacing a body part. So never forget that you're making a prosthetic for somebody.
Yeah. Do most students gravitate towards something?
A lot of them tend to be removables. They do
really?
tend to like that nowadays.
I like to hear that. That's interesting, because everyone says the removable technicians are going away, but I like hearing. So how many people graduate usually from your guys' program?
We usually have an average around 8 to 10 currently going on, but there is that real issue of enrollment that's kind of a little bit across the board for certain schools, that no one knows about us or knows what we are. We go to high schools, we bring high schools in, we even go to middle schools.
Wow.
We try to do so many things, but yet they're like, what's a lab technician?
Absolutely. No, I know it's the struggle that we all have. You stealing my coffee?
These are my students right here.
Oh my gosh,
right
somebody want to be on? We're getting joined by students. We've never had this come on mid-interview. This is great. Check, check, check. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome.
All right.
Jill Adams.
Yes, sir.
That's an easy one.
All right.
Thank you for having an easy name. We are quickly joined mid-interview. Sorry, Erin.
That's all right.
We were learning all about the school when student Jill Adams.
Yep.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. How long have you been in the program?
Year and a half now.
Year and a half.
Yes.
Why did you start the program?
Oh, that's a long story. But, yeah, this is round 2 for Jill.
Yeah.
And there were some things about the dental lab program that really spoke to me and my personal skills. And as I started exploring it, it became...
What do you mean round 2? Like,
I'm in my 40s. So this is a second career for me.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you went through the school twice.
No.
So what were you doing before?
Corporate America.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah. I was with FedEx for about 20 plus years. Yeah.
And what drew you to this? I mean, just working with your hands, or?
Yes, sir. It was the creative side of it that I enjoyed. I'm definitely a doer. I didn't want to
type all. Yeah.
And I did not want to go into management anymore. So So it was. It spoke to me as far as I was able to use my hands. It was a trade, and I was able to be creative and still help people.
So how'd you find out about it? Erin was just talking about how hard it is to let people know about this school that's existing.
Yeah.
How'd you hear about it?
I didn't really. My uncle is a doctor in Michigan, and we sat down and talked, and he's the one who suggested it to me first several years ago.
So he's a dentist?
No, he is a physician.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And he was like, he just knew me.
Yeah.
And he said, have you ever looked into dental lab technology? And I said, no. And he kind of explained what it was. And when I started doing some research about which direction my life was going to go, I pulled it up, and it really spoke to me.
Nice.
And did a little research, online, and started talking to some dentists, and started talking to some dental lab techs.
Yeah.
And I felt like this was a good direction for me.
That's awesome.
But I'm very much, I would definitely want to be involved with promoting this industry more so because I know it's needed.
Mm-hmm. It is much needed.
Yeah.
What have you gravitated towards in the school? What are you liking?
I'm still a little young with that one. There's a lot of things that I'm liking, but what I'm hearing now is removables and dentures and digital is where you need to go if you want to stay viable in the industry.
You could make a buck if you're a good removable technician.
Yeah.
Yep. It's hard to find them.
Mm-hmm.
They're needed. Mm-hmm. And don't let printed dentures scare you off.
Okay.
I'll tell you that much.
Okay. But we love this one.
Yeah?
Yay!
Yeah. Is she like the best teacher ever?
Yeah, she challenges us, which is a good thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So at the school, what is the percentages of actual, classroom book learning versus sitting at a bench and actually doing it with your hands?
With the North Carolina State, it's a 50-50.
50-50,
Yes,
nice.
So they do half classroom time and then half laboratory time. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but it feels more like lab time.
Does it?
But we do both classroom lectures, online lectures. I do sometimes during hybrid, during summer. So they're getting that both online and classroom lectures, and then a lot of laboratory hands-on time.
Awesome. I imagine the students enjoy the laboratory time more.
Yes, it's one of those for school active learning, meaning they're actively doing something hands-on. That's basically our whole program. You
Absolutely.
have English classes and math classes going, try to do something active and hands-on, and they're getting that. And so I see a lot of aha moments more so coming in from lecturing, get the doe-eyed look.
Yeah.
And then coming into, this is what you just learned, let's do it hands-on, and then there's the ahas.
So, they all of a sudden you talked about that last week. That makes sense.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can
That's
see
really
the lights
important.
click on, and I'm like, yes, I got him.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Do you do a lot of CAD?
We are getting into that. That's been the biggest struggle even for us as a school is getting the funds up to purchase that. So we've luckily had wonderful donations recently to help that out. And then we run into the networking problem. Well, where are we going to put it? What are we going to do with it? What are the licensing fees? So it still kind of snowballs. But we are currently for Durham Tech cleaning out a storage room, and we're trying to make a fully functional CAD/CAM room based on all these donations and get more computers so we're not just one or two, that I can actually sit in front of everybody and go, okay, everybody look at this crown right here. So we're trying to catch up with that.
Are you trained on CAD?
I am. So that's actually one of the reasons why I was brought in. I was hired. So I went out in an in-house lab and worked at a prosthodontic office.
After you graduated, and so you got all your CAD experience.
Yeah, and so that's where I learned right then and there because we didn't have it too much even when I was in the school. And then trained on it. And just as I kind of got trained on it, then I got the call from the school from an instructor that I had asking, hey, I'm retiring. Can you come please think about teaching? And I said, I will definitely think about it.
How did that make you feel when an old teacher asks you, replace me? That is amazing.
Very honored.
Yeah, I would imagine.
That I was thought of or even considered.
Yeah.
Because maybe it was because I was asking those questions even when I was there. Why don't we have this? Why isn't it this? Where's the technology in this? Because you have it in your name. So where's it at? So maybe that made an impression. And then I went back because I always did secretly want to think about being an art teacher. And so this is very relatable to that same thing.
Absolutely. Do you want to give props to the companies that donated?
Yeah, we have a Monger Ba.
Yeah.
They recently gave us a really nice setup. We have doctors and dentists, which I can't think of the names right off, who also gave us some donations.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of other smaller companies and other things that just hand us things here and there.
Yeah, we need to keep our industry educated. And you guys are doing some good things.
Yes, thank you.
And there's not many producing technicians that are employable.
Yes.
What are you hoping to do, Amy, right?
No. Jill.
Yeah.
God.
You did it on purpose.
No, I didn't. Your name tag's backwards, and I'm terrible. What are you thinking about doing after you graduate, Jill?
To be honest with you, I went into the program thinking I was going to open up my own dental lab one day. I just recently did some research, and that's kind of a scary prospect for me right now.
Sticker shock.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily sticker shock. It's just small dental labs are disappearing.
Yeah.
And opening up a dental lab in your basement.
Yeah.
It might have happened 10, 15 years ago. So
a little harder.
Yeah. So I'm exploring options right now. But I have a business mind, just from background. And I'm definitely interested in learning the business side of the industry. And I think the best step is to get your hands on and, learn it from the very beginning, the basics.
Absolutely.
And then take it from there.
Absolutely. The people that run the business, if they don't understand what the lab is actually doing, it's not as good. Do you guys teach that in the school?
There is a jurisprudence and ethics side.
What now?
Jurisprudence and ethics is the name
that
of
even
our
a real
course.
Word?
That's what our name
I've
of
never heard of that word.
That's the name of our class, and this is the name of a book that we actually used to also have. But
Google that word later.
Greg Walton is our director, and he teaches that particular class.
Yeah.
And he teaches them the business side as well in that class.
Nice.
So, yes, because he owns a lab and still runs it, and then teaches
Comes
them.
in for teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes.
That's cool. That's cool to have teachers that are in there every day doing it.
Yeah.
Rather than the so-called expert that comes in that's never done it before. That's cool.
Well, I can tell you from the student side, there's about 12 of us or 15 of us altogether, and we definitely feel blessed with the instructors that we have at Durham Tech.
How many instructors are there?
There's 3 full-time and 1 part-time instructor that comes in during summer.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are you currently studying right now? Like what did you step away from to be here this weekend?
They're in my classes, which stepped away from ceramics and complete dentures for first year.
Did you give them homework to do over the weekend?
I did not.
That's nice of you. That's really nice, knowing
them
that you'd
being
be here.
The majority, I think.
We did have a test last week, though.
What? Come on.
Yeah.
Buzzkill.
14 out of 15, I think we're going to make an appearance here.
Okay, that's
so
great.
So that's, to me, I'm like, this is your homework. You're here being surrounded. This is still good.
Get them to engage.
Exactly.
All these people here are lab owners and managers and technicians, and they're all willing to talk to you and share and tell you and scare you away off the industry. So
I tell them always to come here because it's in networking, because it's in person. You get to see it. You get to see what's coming out, what's new. So this is really integral for us and a big trip that we look forward to in fall.
Absolutely. And I always tell people, what you see on stage is one thing, but what you get after and in between, that's everything.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's everything.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sitting
down.
I'm so excited to have Durham Technical College, because it's been mentioned a few times on the podcast.
Yeah, we've been around the block a while.
Yeah.
I think we started in 1961, so
wow,
there's a lot of graduates out there. Yes.
Still going. That's amazing. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are here at day 2 of the Eastern Conference of Dental Laboratories. I am joined by Greg Walton, who happens to be the director of the Durham Technical College. Did I say that right?
Durham Technical Community College.
So we've already talked to a student, and we've talked to an instructor, and now we got the head guy. Tell me about yourself. How did you end up running the Durham school?
Well, years ago, I got into dental laboratory technology when I was very young.
Yeah.
I went by a dental office. I was mowing the grass, and I had a chance to go inside and into the office to get some water to drink. And I saw a guy inside, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, he was a technician, on-site technician with the dental practice, and he was making crowns. I said, "Making what type of crowns?" He said, "I'm making teeth to go in someone's mouth." So I said, "That's very interesting." So I went off to college and got a degree in biology, and I worked in research for years with the biology department at East Carolina University. And then one day, it was about the grant season to end, and the guy would say, "Well, do you want to continue to work in research with me here at the college?" And I said, "Well, yeah." But then I thought about it. I said, "Why don't I go back to dental lab school?" It kind of stuck with me. In high school, director at the time came to the high school and introduced. They had career day.
Yeah.
And I remember that from career day. So it was an interest for me. So I thought about it, and I said, what is something I really want to do? And I said, maybe dental technology would be a good field. Mm-hmm. So after working in research for a while in biology, I went back to dental lab school. And it just fascinated me more and more the more we did it. So I completed the dental lab program and opened up a small lab. And I also worked in an in-house dental lab with a couple of dentists. Mm-hmm. And while I was there, one of the instructors from Durham Tech was about to retire, and he called me up and said, hey, would you like to replace me to get my job? So I said, hey, I'll give it a try. So that's when I started teaching at Durham Tech. I've been there for 22 years now.
Wow.
I've been teaching there. And then about 6 years ago, I had an opportunity to become the director of the program. So after being an instructor there for years, then the door opened to become the director. So that's why I stepped into the director's job. Yeah.
So you've seen the program obviously go through a lot of change.
Oh, yes. It's been a big change. Everything used to be hands-on.
Yeah.
But now the technology, it happens so rapidly. We have CAD/CAM. We even have dentures being milled now. So the skill level for a technician, you must have an education now. If you can go to one of the accredited dental lab schools.
Which there's only like.
Yeah, it's only, I'm afraid to say it's only probably about 13 left that are accredited by CODA.
Mm-hmm.
And they're closing yearly because funds.
Yep.
Funds, and some of them have low enrollment. But most of all, they can't get the high-tech equipment.
Sure.
It's very costly. But we've been fortunate at Durham Tech that we have opened up a CAD center there for training. And with the North Carolina Dental Laboratory Association and all the graduates of the Durham Tech program, they always give back. Mm-hmm. And they are great supporters of the program, and a lot of them on the advisory board. So,
sure.
And we collaborate with the neighboring colleges, UNC Dental School. We collaborate with them to do things, and we work throughout the community. We work with moms. So the dental lab program at Durham Tech works in the community as well as we teach students. Yeah.
How do you get your students?
Well, right now, how do we get the students is we go out to some of the high schools and do recruiting.
Yeah.
We go to some of the career fairs, and believe it or not, some of the students come back because their parents have laboratories, and they want their students to come back and learn the basics, theory of dental technology. Of course, they trained with their parents in the lab or trained with someone from Durham Tech, but the students need the real theory behind.
Oh, absolutely.
With technology increasing, now the technician that they need has to have a good foundation. So we're finding that it's been a turnaround in that technicians, very few are, it's been few so far, but they're coming to Durham Tech and other accredited programs to become skilled technicians.
So talk about the first day that someone signs on for this degree. What's the first thing you teach them?
Well, first thing they learn is basic dental anatomy. We bring them in and we teach them all the basics. The first year, they get all the basic courses. They learn simple occlusion. They learn dental anatomy. They learn that a tooth has so many different surfaces and so many different, the contour is totally different. So they learn all aspects about the tooth and about how to set up a denture, how to basically just work in the dental lab industry.
Sure. Do you ever bring in guest speakers from our industry that talk?
Yes, we often have clinics at the school, GC, all the Ivoclar, all the Amongobar, all the companies. They come and hold seminars at the school.
That's some great support.
That they help a lot.
Yeah. So how many students usually go through the program every year?
We're averaging about 10 students, 8 to 10 students per year.
How many of them end up at a lab?
80% of them
really
end up with a job. And another thing we have going on, which is very interesting, is we have pre-dental students that come into the program on their way to dental school. So we do a 4-week program with pre-dental students from the UNC School of Dentistry and want us to train them before they get there.
Yeah.
So we do that. So we're finding out that pre-dental students come and do their 2 years, and then they go off to dental school, or they serving their last year.
I bet you that makes for a really good dentist in the end because they've taken the time.
You can tell the difference. You can tell the difference. They have some lab background.
I bet. So what's new for your school? What are you guys looking to do next? What's coming out?
What we're looking to do next is we really are focusing on technology, to the new technology, the CAD/CAM, how you can take a computer and you can design a crown or tooth, and then it's milled, where we usually have to wax up everything, wax up all the prostheses.
Sure.
Now you can go on the computer and design it and send that information to a a outsourced milling center, or you can send it to your laboratory. But the key is the high tech. So we're focusing on making a community college dental lab program that's resourceful to all the industry.
Sure. Do you ever think you'll stop teaching the hand wax part of it?
No, that won't leave. You got to have the basics. In order to wax, that allows you to work on the computer. Go directly.
Agree.
Yeah, you got to add a certain amount of wax. So we still teach that hand-on basic skills, and then we let them move over onto the CAD machine.
Yeah.
So that won't leave at all. That won't leave.
What do most students kind of gravitate towards as they're in the school? Are they more fixed? Are they more removable? Is it all over the place?
I think it's all over the place. One year you may have a bunch of students that the majority of your students may be concerned about, I want to be a crown and bridge technician or a ceramics technician. Then you have kids that just want to do removables. Mm-hmm. So I would say 50-50, with our class. Yeah. So at that last year, we send them to that area. They do an internship at that particular specialty, and they get to choose and to perfect it. But most of the laboratories are full-service labs.
So they get exposed to everything.
To both, yes.
So the externship or internship for a whole year?
It's for one semester.
One semester.
It's your last semester at Durham Tech. It starts in January and ends in May.
Do you guys usually use the same labs that they go to?
We have a group of labs
that
throughout.
kind of agree to do it.
And based on where the student lives.
Sure.
So the student gets to travel there and it's close to home.
Sure. And how many end up working there?
80% of the kids get a job afterwards. We have labs like Triad. We have labs that have come to us and say, hey, you train the student. And they're a great group of people. They say Absolute Dental Lab. Several labs have. If we train the students, they say we will accept them if you can send them
to us. If they go through your program, we know they're good.
Yes, that's right. That's basically. And they work very well with us. They Triad hosts a one-day seminar with our students at their facility.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you ever get feedback from students after they've left the program? They're out in the field for a while.
Oh, we get that all the time.
So what do they say? They're like, I can't believe that.
You changed my life. Yeah, my life has been changed. I want to do something different. I enjoy this program. Now I have my own lab. I'm the manager of a lab. I'm an instructor. So we hear some good stories.
That's great. Yeah. That's really where you make the difference.
Yes, you make the difference in someone's life.
If you can produce a student you're going to change their life for a positive, but they're also going to share that to others.
Yes.
That's huge. Yeah. That's huge. That's awesome. I really wish your guys' school was close to my lab, really. I don't think I can convince anyone from North Carolina to move to Indiana. It's a hard sell.
Yeah, we get calls every day from labs throughout the country.
Yeah.
Because right now, believe it or not, there's a dying breed. All the technicians, older guys, are retiring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the little mom and pop labs, they need some people. But the lab industry needs skilled techs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We went through this kind of phase in our industry when CAD CAM first came out that we'd all hire the video game players.
Oh, yeah.
And then we was like, we'll pay them $12 an hour. And then they'll just make. And then, boy, did we learn the hard way.
Yes. That's right.
You truly need skilled people behind these machines.
And that's what we're focusing on.
They're not replacing
at
people.
Durham Tech. Right. We're trying to, when we go out to the industry, that's what we want to do. We say send them to us. We'll give them the basics and take them and give them a job.
Yeah. And that's what we need in labs.
Yes.
Because, we'll refine it, we'll polish it to our needs. Yeah. But they got to have that fundamentals that's very hard to teach.
Yeah.
I can't appreciate you guys enough. It's sad that there's not more of you. And it's, I'm hoping we can grow this industry to the point where everybody wants to go to a school for it.
Yes, that's what we would love to see that.
Everybody in this room, we're here. This whole conference is full of people that are happy where they work. They're glad they had this lifelong career in this field. Yeah. The newer generation just doesn't know it yet.
That's right. And it's a great field to go into.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah. Everybody here is just fantastic.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sitting down with me, Greg.
All right. Well, thank you
so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Few things create more interest today than the digital denture. Whitmix has developed a processing system for printed dentures, which uses Dentka, the first 3D printed denture and denture teeth resins to ever receive the FDA clearance. Their physical properties and biocompatibility pass FDA requirements and enable the printed denture properties to be very similar to conventional dentures. The material, coupled with fast and easy 3D printing with Asiga printers and the convenience of curing with a UVtron UV light, results in fewer dentist visits, predictable fit, reprintable data files, lower cost, and excellent intraoral denture performance. The Dentka material available from Whitmix includes an ivory color try-in material, tooth-shaded materials in Vita shades A1, A2, A3, A3.5, B1, and B2, and denture-based materials in original pink, light pink, reddish pink, and dark pink shades. To learn how to create your own digital denture, check out Whitmix.com for their digital denture courses and for more information about the system. Thanks for your continued support of the podcast, Whitmix.
We can't thank enough Erin Popov, Jill Adams, and Greg Walton for coming on the podcast to talk about what you all love to do. Elvis and I are firm believers in education in our industry, and we appreciate you all and Durham Technical Community College for doing what you are doing to help individuals be educated in our profession. We need to bring awareness to the public that we are a great career for anybody, and we encourage those who can take a program in any schools that teach it.
All right, it's finally February. And that means we are in the month of LMT Lab Day Chicago.
Yeah.
In less than 3 weeks, our community will come together, of course, in one of the coldest places possible, to mingle, connect, network, educate, learn, shop, buy, and of course, to podcast.
Wow. Listen to you go, man. Love it.
Barb and I will be at the Argon booth. That is booth I-16 and I-17 for those of you who understand how to read a floor map, recording anyone who wants to be on the podcast. We eventually want to talk to everybody in our industry because we think everybody has an interesting story to tell. So stop by, say hi, and record with us. Argon is providing us a nice area to sit down and record all weekend, so we should be easy to find. And of course, we thank you for your support, Argon.
Thank you, Argon. And do not forget about the CDT Fest. This awesome party is to celebrate all things CDT. So on Friday, February 21st from 5 to 6:30 at the Hyatt Regency Chicago, you can mingle with hundreds of others and congratulate all CDTs. And let me tell you something, last year and the year before that, it was super awesome. There was a ton of people there. We all celebrated it. I think everybody was jazzed that we're doing it now. So don't forget to register. Head over to this episode's show notes for a link to register. We'll see you there.
It's free, so there's no reason for you not to go. It is absolutely free, and you don't even have to leave the hotel. So head over to the CDT Fest. Who doesn't like something free? All right, everybody. That's all we got. We will talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Have a great week. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
I wrote this at like 6 a.m.
Sure you did.